All right, this isn't fun anymore. Yeah. City are currently down 3-1 to Bodo. It's the 92nd minute. It's two more minutes left to play a stoppage time. So I'm calling it there. Yeah, I just can't take it anymore. A horrendous performance from City. Yeah, again, another loss in the books. And I don't know what to make of what is going on at the club right now. I don't know what to make of how the team has gotten themselves into this situation. Yes, we're hit with a lot of injuries right now and everything, which is unfortunate. And we signed Antoine Semenyo a couple week ago. Margay, he has officially signed for the club yesterday, so that's really good news. I wanted to kind of use this video. I wanted to record this a lot earlier in the day, but I saw that the City match was actually going to be at the earlier time slot as opposed to the 3 o'clock here in the U.S. And it's instead 12:45 and it was at 12:45 and everything. So I'm just gonna do all this video now, and I'm kind of using it as like a City news, like latest news and everything, to kind of talk about what's going on right now. Now that we've kind of got some like clear heads after the Manchester Derby, but now obviously City's lost this match in the Champions League, which was another must win so that we could avoid, any like playoff surprises or anything like that because of what happened last season, right? If we had won this match against Bodo, we would have solidified a playoff, automatic qualification to the next round of the tournament. We're sitting in fourth place right now, but Inter win. Let's see. I'm looking at the table right now. City's in fourth place despite this loss with 13 points, but Inter still need to play. They're going to be playing against Arsenal. Real Madrid still need to play. They're both on 12 points. Atletico Madrid still need to play. Liverpool still need to play. They're on 12 points as well. Like, we could easily fall. Let's see. Oh, boy. We could, we've got one more match in the Champions League, and this loss, the match is over now. So this loss officially makes things trickier heading into the last match week of the Champions League before the next phase of the tournament. Because why would we want to play a playoff round? We saw what happened last year. In the Champions League, we got eliminated from the playoff round. We couldn't even qualify for the knockout stage of the tournament. Plus, if we are an automatic qualification for the knockout phases, that's one last match. That's one less match that we have to worry about, right? So, yeah, it's rough, and it's a tough loss to take because the goals that we conceded weren't because City were poor. Although we were poor today, let's not get it twisted. It wasn't like poor team performances that led to these 3 goals being conceded. It was individual errors. Both of Bodo's first 2 goals came from Max Alleyne errors. The first goal, he dives in to try to win the ball when it's completely unnecessary to, leaving Kusanov stretched on a 1v1, and you know what I mean? Having to scramble back. And Donnarumma could have done better with the save as well. But that's 1-0 to Bodo. And then the second one, just less than 2 minutes after the first goal, Max Alleyne, poor control from, the ball in the air, and gives the ball away so cheaply, leaving the whole defensive line stretched again. And like that's it. That's 2-0. Boom. Down 2 goals in the first half in the span of 2 minutes. Like, that's so bad. And then the third goal, Rodri just giving the ball away so cheaply and then doing no defensive work to recover the ball after losing it, immediately leading to a beautiful strike by the Bodo player as well. I'm pretty sure the same player scored a hat trick. But he scored a brace, so if he didn't score the hat trick, he scored the first 2 goals, and then the third goal was just a sublime finish. But it was from a Rodri error, Rodri giveaway, and then doing nothing in defense to try to win it back. He recovers to run back to cover the player, but he gets beaten so easily. It's like he didn't even try to win the ball back. So yeah, it's super frustrating. Erling Haaland again, pretty quiet. No goal today. Goal coming from Cherki. So yeah, look, I want to chop everything down to the poor performances as just player fatigue. I've talked about it before already a couple weeks ago. When we signed Semenyo, like we have way too many players out right now. There are loads of injuries in the squad. No Nunez, no Guardio, no Ruben Diaz, no Nico Gonzalez anymore. Rodri's he's finding his fitness back and trying to get Matt Sharp again. So that's going to take a while. Doku is out for a little bit. Who else? Marmoush and Ryan Nora were out through AFCON. They just recently came back. Marmoush, this was his first match back since rejoining. This was Nori's second match back since rejoining from the tournament. Who else is out? There's more players out. I can't think of it right off the top of my head, but we have players missing. So yeah, these players are fatigued because there's not much rotation. If you look at the benches, like the bench for the past month and a half or so, like they're not a high quality bench like whatsoever. We have a bunch of kids on the bench, and not that there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but if we want to compete, we need a lot of quality, experienced players to come off and offer something, right? And we just don't really have that right now. So Marmoush coming back is going to be good because Erling Haaland can rest. I feel like Haaland probably should have started on the bench today and gotten a rest. Maybe give Marmoush some time to find some confidence in the team because he hasn't really been able to play this season as a whole. He started out the season injured. He didn't start the season out injured, but he got injured right at the start of the season, missed a good chunk, and like easing him back into the side was so dragged out. It's been so dragged out. So he hasn't really been getting a lot of playing time, and then he went off to AFCON. So I felt like he probably should have started this match just to start getting back into the rhythm of being with the squad and getting some minutes and trying to build some confidence. I feel like he could have offered a lot more than Erling Haaland probably could have in this match because Erling Haaland has been playing majority of the time, and you could just see that he's tired. Phil Foden has lost his spark, and I want to say that it's because of fatigue. He's also playing a majority of the time as well. So I don't think he's contributed to a goal in like about a month and a half or so, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure it's been a really long time. I feel like the Fulham match was probably his last game where he contributed to a goal. So yeah, again, I have to double check, but I'm not really sure. But I know he hasn't contributed to a goal in a really long time. Ryan Cherki as well today, kind of despite the goal, watching him was a little bit frustrating because in the beginning of the match, it kind of seemed like he kind of had like a lackadaisical type of attitude, like he kind of was downplaying Bodo and he was taking them lightly, so to say. Like, in the beginning, like the passes were sloppy. They weren't really on target. It's kind of slow off the mark. Gave the ball away pretty cheaply in the beginning. And it's just like, brother, we need 3 points here, bro. Like, let's get it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I want to chop everything down to just not having the squad depth at the moment. And before anyone says anything, I don't want to say that me chopping the poor performances down to not having the squad depth right now is an excuse, is a very lazy argument, because let's think about it for a second, right? Over the past 3 to 4 seasons where Arsenal have been competing for the title and have been falling short, what has been the main reason as to why they haven't been able to get over the line? Because of not having the squad depth, getting plagued with injuries throughout the seasons, right, for the past 3 or 4 years. That's not an excuse, brother. Like, that's just the reality of it. They didn't have the squad depth to actually compete and stay up with the demand of the Premier League and also playing in Europe and other cup competitions with they didn't have the demand to keep up with the footballing schedule. right? They didn't have the squad for that. They have it now. They have built that now. That's why they've been able to deal with all these injuries this season so brilliantly. That's why they have been in first place, because their second team can very well easily compete with their first team. Like they can, a lot of the players in their in the second team could definitely come into the first team and look like they've been in the first team for a while, right? Like they have built that. That has taken them time. City right now are going through this bit of a rebuild period where, we bought a lot of new players last season. We lost a lot of players due to injury. We got rid of Julian Alvarez, which I think was a mistake, and everything. Like a lot of changes have been happening in the past year and a half with the team. So this is pretty much a rebuilded squad and everything. So it's gonna take some time, and it is frustrating. But to Pep Guardiola's credit, we are second place. And I genuinely was not expecting that coming into this season at all, knowing that this was going to be a rebuild, knowing that this was a brand new squad with a lot of players that have not won anything at all. During City's dominating years under Pep Guardiola, they haven't played together. Like, this is a brand new team. It's going to take time. I was actually predicting City to finish in fourth place, maybe having a stronghold on third place, but in the top two, definitely not. So the fact that City are in second place right now, and it's just 7 points off of first place, is not really bad, right? So that's all I want to say. I feel like everything that's been going on right now is just because of the fact that we don't have the squad depth for it. There's a lot of players out injured. We missed two very important players due to AFCON. We've got them back now. We could offer some squad rotation, but it's still not even all that much as well. So Semenyo is going to offer a lot, and he started out brilliantly. He didn't have a great game against Manchester United, but that's okay. And then Marc Guéhi is going to come. And I want to talk about Marc Guéhi for a second as well. So it's official. He officially signed his contract yesterday for the club. How City were able to get Marc Guéhi for the fee that they have gotten him for, I believe it was 25 mil to Crystal Palace. Like, the fact that they were able to do that, get Erling Haaland for 65 mil, get Ryan Cherki for 30 or 35 mil, absolute steal. How they have been able to do that business is beyond me, but big ups to City for being able to do that in this type of market right now where players are extremely overpriced and filled with so much tax. Absolute steal. And yes, I know with Marc Guéhi it was a bit of a different situation because of the fact that he was out of contract at Crystal Palace within the next 6 months, and Crystal Palace were either to risk losing him for free and not getting a profit on a very high profile player, or they had to sell now in order to make a profit off of that. So whatever City did to get the deal over the line ultimately came down to whether Marc Guéhi wanted to actually just be at City, because I'm assuming the conversation was probably look, we want you now, we need you now. You'll get right into the first team, considering the fact that Ruben Diaz and Josko Gvardiol are out through injury. John Stones is injured as well. Kusanov has still got a lot to kind of learn and more experience to gain. Max Alleyne, just a kid. He was in the championship on loan for a reason, right? So yeah, he could get into the squad now. It's somewhat of a new project at City where it's a complete rebuild. You'll be jumping right into a title race off the jump, right? You know what I mean? And whatever money, that we would, essentially give Palace, we could just give it to you because we have the money for it, right? Whatever Arsenal or Liverpool or Chelsea, whatever other team in the Premier League or across Europe you've been speaking to, whatever they're willing to pay you, we'll match that. And we'll also we'll throw Palace some bread as well, so you can at least leave on a good note, right? They can at least make something off of you rather than losing you out for free, but you'll still get paid whatever other club is willing to give you, right? So I'm assuming that's the conversation that was had. So good on City for getting the deal done over the line because it is very well needed. My honest opinion, I'm a huge fan of Mark Gahey. I think he's a brilliant player. You know, he's at a really good age. He's like 25. I think he's going to be like 26 this summer. It's the World Cup year. Very, very strong player. You know, good on the ball, great aerial, strong, fast, like composed, good profile player. I'm happy to have him on the team. But considering the fact that we have Ruben Diaz, who's an automatic starter, Vardio, who can play left back, and I think he's probably a good choice to be contender for like a starting left back. Ruben Diaz and Guardiola have been our strongest defensive center back pairing this season, right? So whenever they're back fit, John Stones is back fit. Like, I don't know where Mark Gahey's going to be, you know, in the pecking order. And right, obviously, you know, with City's Pep Guardiola, right? Like, we're used to seeing a very deep squad depth with City. So a lot of players are in and out of the squad, not like, you know, with quick turnover or anything, but everyone's given a chance. I will say that. In the time that Pep has been at City, we've had very strong squad rotations and everything, and everyone has always been given a chance to have their moment to shine, right? When we had Raheem Sterling, Sane, Riyad Mahrez, who else? Aguero, Jesus, right? Erling Haaland, Julian Alvarez, like everyone would have their own stint. If they couldn't start together, everyone eventually will get their time, right? Because of the demand, because of the footballing schedule. Like, you're gonna need to rotate players out, right? And eventually someone's gonna get the burnout and feel fatigue, would need some rest. Another person could come in, and it's just about staying sharp, being ready for your moment, so that you could seize that opportunity and make a good run in the team. You know, before eventually, you know, being rotated out, or, you know, being a mainstay, and then that another player on the team will get rotated out with the person that you rotated out, right? So I will say that although I don't really know how it's going to be for Mark Gahey once our center backs are fully fit, right, I will say he's given the opportunity to make his stance, put his stamp on the team right now, and make a huge impact to the point where Pep Guardiola won't be able to take his name off the team sheet at all. And if he is able to, again, who knows? You might be able to convert Mark Gahey or any other center back into a John Stones-like position, like when John Stones kind of converted into a CDM, right? So I do think it's a really good signing. I understand why City made the deal happen. Long term, though, I don't know how well it would work for Gahey, but I genuinely would want it to work because I do kind of see John Stones being phased out now. He's been hit with so much injury over the past few years. He's not necessarily able to shake off injuries season in and season out, right? So I do think that his time at City is coming to an end within the next year or two. So I think Mark Gahey would be a really good replacement for John Stones, who was an important player for us, right? But also with Mark Gahey coming in, I do feel like that ultimately opens the door for Nathan Ake to leave. Either this window, I would assume it would be this window, or in the summer. And then it also opens the door for Manuel Akanji to get his permanent move to Inter Milan, if Inter Milan want to make his move permanent. Right, he's on loan with them, and he's in a title race in the Serie A right now, and he is a regular in Inter's team as well. So I can definitely see that partnership going the way that Akanji would want it to go. You know, we'd probably want to make that move permanent. So with Mark Gahey coming in, it does open the door for two exits in the defense. And although I am going to hate to see Nathan Ake leave, I'm going to hate to see Akanji leave, it is definitely the best move for them in their career right now. So I will give them that, right? So So yeah, and then other news in the city and like city transfer business and everything is that apparently it seems official that Oscar Bob is going to be leaving this window, which again, it's another one. I don't know. I'm just really loyal to City players. I don't dislike any City players at all. I want the best for them. So I do think that it's most likely best for Oscar Bob to move elsewhere. Antoine Semenyo coming into the team kind of solidified that exit and pushed it further along. There are reports that Fulham are kind of negotiating with City for a pretty low fee, in my opinion. I think it's like 30 or 35 or something like that Fulham are willing to pay for Oscar Bob. And I do think that it is a low fee considering his quality, but he had a really bad injury 2 seasons ago where he missed the entire season. He hasn't really been able to get much playing time in the past year and a half. So and he's also 22. So you kind of have to think about that. If you look at the amount of games that he's played since his debut up until now, although yes, he is very young, the amount of matches that he has played doesn't really look good with his age, at all. For a 22-year-old, you would expect to be a pretty prominent name in the first team, right? To be given a lot of chances, be a prominent figure in the first team. And that's not really happening. He's not really playing at all. So yeah, I do think that it's probably for the best that he goes. Borussia Dortmund are another team that are also interested in him. They've been interested in him since December, I want to say. So I feel like if I were Oscar Bob and Fulham and Dortmund were my only two options, I would 100% go to Dortmund. Although, yes, I do think the Premier League is the best league in the world and everything. Fulham aren't Dortmund. Fulham aren't competing in the Champions League. They're not competing in Europa League or Conference League or anything like that. They're also not in title races. The Bundesliga I don't think is that as weak as a lot of people think that it is, right? So I do think that Dortmund would probably be the best move for him. But if he does want to stay in England, I can understand why Fulham would be appealing because they are an exciting team. They do play pretty good football. They got a lot of good players as well. And Alex Iwobi, Chukwueze, who else? Emil Smith-Rowe and so on, and Jimenez as well. So yeah, it's a good team. It's a promising team. They play good football. They're very entertaining. But they're a mainstay in kind of the mid-table area. So if it were me, I would want to go to Dortmund. So yeah, but with that being said, I'll kind of wrap this video up now. I kind of want to finish with my top 5 City signings in January. So any City player that has been signed in January transfer windows, I want to rank my top 5 considering the fact that we made 2 very big signings this January transfer window that can very much help us get over the line in this title race if Arsenal are to drop some points. So we'll see. We can, fingers crossed, right? But yeah, I'm not going to include Semenyo or Gehi in this ranking because obviously they just signed, right? They haven't played nearly enough football for them to be ranked at all amongst any top City players right now. So we'll see. We'll see in 3 years or something how that goes. But I'll start with my list now, starting at 5 and going down to number 1. So at number 5, I do have Omar Marmoush as one of my top ever January signings for City. He signed in January of last year, so January 2025. He helped salvage City's horrendous season last season. We can't even lie. City were looking god-awful last season. I'll never forget that embarrassing loss to Spurs during the 24-25 season. It was really bad. But Omar Marmoush came in. He scored 7 Premier League goals, and he got 1 assist in the remaining 16 matches in the league that season. And, we can't forget his banger of a goal against, Bournemouth on the final home game of the season that ultimately won goal of the season for 24-25. So he helped City secure 3rd place, and he helped turn our season around last season. So I am going to put him at number 5 right now on my ranking. Number 4, I got Big Gabby Jesus. He signed in January. Well, he actually signed in the summer of 2016, I believe, but he came to us in January of 2017. So I'm going to count that, and I'm going to put him at number 4. He was a great attacking option for City throughout his career before moving on to Arsenal. He was very versatile across the front line. He could play as a center forward, left wing, right wing, center attacking mid. Like, he was a very versatile player. Very young when he signed for us too. So I did felt like he had a lot to kind of like grow into in terms of like the goal scoring aspect. Like, if he could improve his finishing, he was going to be the proper successor for Sergio Aguero. And that ultimately didn't really happen, but he was still a very vital player for City throughout his career, right? He's got 95 goals, 46 assists in 236 appearances for City. He's won 11 major trophies, including 4 Premier League titles, and he also scored the Centurions goal against Southampton to get us to 100 points during the 17-18 season. So, Gabby, you're the man. He's number 4 for me. Number 3, I've got Aymeric Laporte. Joined in January of 2018, and he made an immediate impact when he signed. He started in his first City match a day after he signed, and he only had 2 hours of training with the team. So he had an immediate impact. I do remember when we signed him, it was very big because we had some defensive issues. We had some players like missing through injury, and the defense just wasn't looking all that solid and great. And then he came in and he helped get City over the line to win the league that season against Liverpool, who were testing us deeply. So during his time at City, he won 13 major titles, including 5 Premier Leagues and the treble, right? And by his 100th Premier League appearance, he broke the record and set it for the player with the most points collected than any other player in Premier League history for their first 100 Premier League appearances. So that record is set at 254 points by Aymeric Laporte. So he's number 3 for me. He made an immediate impact, and he impacted the season that he joined in. So that's why he's number 3, and obviously because of the career that he had at City. Number 2, I've got Julian Alvarez. Signed in January of 2022, but he remained on loan at River Plate until July, until the Argentinian season ended. So he joined us for the 22-23 season, although he signed during the 21-22 season in January of that season. So I'm going to count him and put him at number 2 on my list. Very short spell at City. He only lasted 2 seasons with City, but he did help City win the treble. So for that reason, he's automatically in the top 2 spot for me. He scored a brace and assisted in the Club World Cup final against Fluminense and won the player of the match for that game as well. So he achieved the unachievable, with City, winning the treble, winning the Club World Cup, winning the Super Cup as well, and he also won the World Cup. So he has won football in general. So he's number 2 for me. And the number 1, Edin Dzeko, man. Edin Dzeko for me has to be number 1 because he is such a vital figure in City's success. We don't get to where City are at right now without players like Edin Dzeko being signed for the club early days during, the financial takeover by Sheikh Mansour and everything. So he scored the 91st minute equalizer against QPR in order for Sergio Aguero to get that penultimate moment scoring the winner against QPR. So without Edin Dzeko's equalizer, we don't get Sergio Aguero's goal to clinch City's first Premier League title. He won the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, but back then it was called the Capital One Cup. in addition to the Premier League in the 11-12 season and the Premier League in the 13-14 season. And he played a very pivotal role in the 2013-14 season as well, scoring 16 goals, just one behind Sergio Aguero's 17. And he also became the first City player to ever score 4 goals in a single Premier League match. And that was against Tottenham Hotspur in the 2011-2012 season. So he's number one on my list. Like I said, we don't get to where we are right now as a club without players like Enan Dzeko kind of like paving the way for the success and being a part of that early successful history. So, yeah, those are my top 5 City players to sign in January of all time. Let me know if you have your own list or anything like that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about some of my, City ideas or, my reasoning as to why City are playing so poorly right now. Hopefully we can turn things around this season. We'll see. Very poor performance today, but we'll bounce back. We got Wolves on Saturday. That one's going to be a huge match considering that Arsenal have to host Manchester United the following day on Sunday. So big weekend coming up. I'll speak to you guys on the next one.